Okay, so we're super excited to be here today and welcome everyone to our political candidate forum. Thank you to all the candidates who took the time to join us today. I'm Terry Smiley, president of the Walton County Chamber of Commerce. The Walton County Chamber of Commerce does not endorse any candidates in any election. We do feel like it's important for us to host forums like this so that the voters have the opportunity to meet the candidates. Today, I will do my best to control Zoom as we've just practiced, muting and unmuting everyone. On occasion, if it does not let me, then I'll have to have you unmute yourself or mute yourself. We've already met Carrie Rose. She's our timekeeper today. She will give you a 30-second warning, and then she will give you a stop warning. And so just complete your sentence, and we'll move on to the next person. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our moderator today, which is Melissa Shanahan of Shanahan Law Firm. And Melissa also serves as our Chamber of Governmental Affairs Chair. And thank you, Melissa, for being with us today to moderate.
You're welcome. As you'll see, today's format for the forum will be 3-minute introductions from each of the candidates. Then they'll each be asked questions. They'll be allowed to give 1-minute answers. And at the end of their questions, they'll be given 2 minutes for closing remarks and or rebuttal. Today, we'll hear from candidates with opposition in the primary election for District Attorney, Superior Court Judge, and Walton County Sheriff. The first race, the District Attorney's race, the candidates are Layla Zahn, the Republican incumbent, and Randy McGinley. The Superior Court Judge to replace Eugene Benton's seat, the candidates are Jeff Foster, Shaveda McCamey, and Robert Stansfield. And the candidates for the Walton County Sheriff's race are Joe Chapman, the Republican incumbent, and Michael Sledge. We'll now end the screen share so you'll be able to see the candidates as they speak. We'll begin with the candidates for District Attorney, and we'll only include their 3-minute introductions. Once you hear those, you'll understand the reason we aren't asking questions for this race. Layla Zahn is the Republican incumbent, and shortly before we started this call, she sent a statement to be read as follows. As the District Attorney for the Alcovey Judicial Circuit in Walton County for the past 10 years, I'm grateful for the Chamber's decision to host this forum. As the prosecutor in this circuit for the past 20 years, I cannot underscore how important it is for the voters in our community to be engaged and aware of the candidates and issues in these important elections. I am choosing not to participate in this forum today because I am currently being considered for a judgeship to replace the Honorable Samuel D. Osborne. Since that is a nonpartisan position, I believe I should refrain from engaging in a partisan forum. I remain on the ballot until this appointment is made, and hopefully that will be shortly. If I am not appointed by the governor, I hope to have your support. Thank you for your understanding. So next we'll let Mr. McGinley make his 3-minute introduction.
First, I want to thank the Walton County Chamber of Commerce and Terry and Carrie and Melissa for hosting, organizing, and moderating this forum. As Ms. Zahn said, I kind of explained a little bit, this DA's race and judicial race has had a lot of different moving parts over the last 9 months or so. We started off some 9 months ago. I'm sure some of the judicial candidates will talk about this more, having potentially three seats open, and went down to 2 seats and went down to 1 seat. So there's been a lot of movement. And as Ms. Zahn said, she is one of the 2 people on the short list with the governor currently for the vacant seat for Judge Osborne's seat. And if she is appointed, I will be the remaining candidate on the Republican ticket for the district attorney's race, as it is a partisan race. As Melissa said, my name is Randy McGinley. I'm currently the Chief Assistant District Attorney here in the Alcovey Judicial Circuit DA's office, which covers Walton County and Newton County. I live here in Walton County with my wife and our 2 beautiful daughters, 4 years old and 9 months old. So a little busy at the house, obviously. I've been the Chief ADA since January of 2017. In that role, my duties include helping manage both offices, handling the actual prosecution of some of the most serious cases, and I'll touch on that in a little bit, in both counties. I've worked in both counties. I've been a prosecutor since I came out of law school and started in the Newton County office on June 1st of 2011, and I've done nothing but prosecute and handle cases as an assistant district attorney. I've handled, as I said, some of the most serious cases in both offices, When I started, we had about 14 attorneys. We are now up to 25 attorneys. I anticipate that is going to continue that trend of growth in our office as both counties continue to grow in population. In that, I am somebody who has the experience not only to handle the most serious cases, but also manage both offices as I've done that. I've also been involved in the budget process. Prior to going to law school, and I hope not too many of the Walton County residents hold it against me, but I did graduate from Georgia Tech for undergrad. And then I also ran a business, my own business for 4 years as a real estate appraiser. So I have not just the experience as a prosecutor, but also as a business owner. And I think that is very important this year. As everyone knows, everything that's going on, budgets are going to be a big deal over the last year and in the future. And I have that experience running a business, but also being involved in the budget process for the district attorney's office. I'm also very involved in the community. I'm a member of the Loganville Rotary Club. I've also volunteered with Fish here in Walton numerous times and also taught mock trial for high schools in Newton County, Georgia. I ask for your support as district attorney. As I've said, it is a strange circumstances of everything that's going on, but I believe I am, or I know I am, experienced. I have the best work ethic, and I'm committed to both Walton and Newton counties, and I ask for your support going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy. We'll now move to the Superior Court judge race. Each candidate will give their 3-minute introduction. Mr. Foster.
All for inviting me. Happy to be here. My name is Jeff Foster. I think everyone on this call. I'm running obviously for Judge Benton's seat, the Superior Court of Walton and Newton counties, the Alcovy Circuit. I have lived in Walton County and worked in Walton and Newton counties since I moved here in June of 1991. My wife and I married a local girl, Monroe native, and we have 7 children. We have 2 grandchildren and hopefully quite a few more of those on the way. We have obviously become very entrenched in the community. You know, you have 3 Walton County native, or 7 Walton County native babies. And my law practice has been exclusively really in Walton and Newton County. I've had offices in both Covington and Monroe. I first came here in the legal aspect while in law school as a 3rd-year intern with the district attorney's office in August of 1992, and was fortunate enough at that time, because of big caseload but small office size, to really be the juvenile court prosecutor. And so was able to try cases from the beginning, and that really sort of whet my appetite for trial work, and never left. We set up, I started with Judge Ott as a law clerk in 1993 and left in 1995 to join the district attorney's office, where I remained until 2003, August of 2003, when Marcy Hanks, one of the assistants that I had hired with Ken Wynn, she and I left and formed Foster and Hanks, which is now Foster, Hanks, and Ballard. During that time in the district attorney's office, I was fortunate to see a lot, do a lot, have a lot of opportunities, meet a lot of great people. I was hired by Alan Cook when Ken Wynn was elected to be the district attorney in 2000. He made me his chief assistant, and I handled the day-to-day operations for the Walton County office and went to Newton County to handle trial calendars and things of that nature. Went into private practice in 2003 and have been in private practice since. Have enjoyed the challenges of trying a little bit of everything. Spend most of my time over the last the last 28 years have been in a courtroom. And really have had the opportunity to do all sorts of things from such a great variety, and the opportunity also to be very invested in our community. We're active at First Baptist Church Loganville. I've served in actually full-time ministry with the Ministry Village. We're active in foster care, and so this is home. We love it. We're invested in it, and that's why I want to be a judge.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Ms. McCamey.
Good afternoon. My name is Shavita McCamey, and I am running for Superior Court Judge. First, let me thank the Walton County Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event and inviting me to participate. I am a native of Covington, Georgia. I have been raised in this circuit. I attended Social Circle High School, graduated in 1991. I then went on to the University of Georgia and then to Mercer University, Walter F. George School of Law for my law degree. After finishing law school, I started with a firm in Atlanta doing insurance defense. There we did government liability, personal injury, slip and falls, all types of things. From there, I went to a small firm down in Newton, Georgia, where I got an opportunity to do family law, which includes divorce, child custody, adoption, criminal defense, contracts, wills, estates, and personal injury as well. After that, I joined the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, where I worked for a number of years, and I've also been in the DeKalb District Attorney's Office, and I'm currently the Chief Assistant in the Henry County District Attorney's Office. I've had an opportunity to prosecute cases from misdemeanor thefts all the way up to murder. I've been recognized for my trial skills in both the Fulton County and the DeKalb County office, and also recognized with the Henry County District Attorney's Office for my work with Project Safe Neighborhood, which is a collaboration with the United States Attorney's Office in an effort to remove dangerous and violent criminals from the community. I've had a chance to own my own practice as well, right here in Newton County. As I said, I do live here in Covington, Georgia. I am married. I have 2 children. I've been married for 20 years to Marcellus McCamey. My children, I have a daughter that is a freshman at the University of Georgia. She is studying theater, and then I have a son that is in the Academy of Liberal Arts at Newton County High School, and he is a sophomore, or actually at this point, he's a junior. I am excited for the opportunity to serve my community in the capacity as judge. I will run an efficient courtroom. I will treat people with respect and dignity, and I will make sure that the law is followed and upheld. So I ask for your support.
Thank you, Ms. McCamey. Okay, now we'll have the questions for the candidates for Superior Court Judge. You'll have 1 minute to answer each question, and the order of who answers first will be different for each question. There are a total of 3 questions. First question, Mr. Foster will go first.
Melissa,
Yes.
Mr. Stansfield needs to do his introduction.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Stansfield. Your introduction. I apologize.
Thank you. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. It's important to be able to speak with the membership. I know that the Chambership membership are the backbone of the community as employers, as taxpayers, and as supporters of community initiatives. I'm Bob Stansfield. I'm from Covington, Georgia, where I've lived for 24 years with my wife, Pat. Pat is a Newton County special education teacher where she's taught for more than 30 years. We've been married for 30 years. We have 1 daughter who last week completed her Master's of Music degree at Georgia State. We came to Covington because Pat taught there, but also because we thought it would be a good place to raise a family. I started a law practice. I had practiced in Atlanta and in Savannah, but I started a practice in Covington. After 8 years, I merged it with other lawyers, and we formed Greer, Stansfield, and Turner, where I practice now. Like many of you chamber members, I know what it's like to start and grow a business. For 31 years, I've represented folks just like you, business owners, their families, their employees, as well as other members in the community. Over my 31 years of practice, I've appeared in state and federal court representing individuals, representing contractors and tradesmen, car dealers and shopkeepers, dentists and doctors, buyers and sellers, creditors and debtors, and any number of different types of business owners and individuals. Along the way, I've dealt with state and administrative agencies like the Environmental Protection Division, the EPA, the IRS, the DOT, and the Department of Revenue. I understand your legal problems. I understand their context and their practical consequences. I've developed a common sense approach to solving problems, an approach I learned from representing business owners like yourself. I've appeared in courts across this state, from magistrate courts and city courts to superior courts to the Georgia Court of Appeals and the Georgia Supreme Court. I have a record of upholding the law. While I have not won all my cases, I have reversed trial judges at the Court of Appeals And at my request and on my arguments, the Georgia Supreme Court has reversed trial judges or Court of Appeals judges. Just like hospitals need more than surgeons, courts need more than career prosecutors. And with the loss of Judge Benton and Judge Osborne, judges who represented folks like you and understood your real problems, I have the experience to do that. I'm the best candidate to replace Judge Benton and fill that loss which will result when he goes, because I have traditional values, I have common sense, and I have a record of upholding the law. I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stansfield. Now we'll have the questions for each candidate for the judgeship. The first question will be answered by Mr. Foster, then Ms. McCamey, then Mr. Stansfield. And the first question is, what specific qualifications, skills, and experience do you possess that would make you the better candidate for Superior Court judge? Mr. Foster?
You know, I've been fortunate enough, and I've said this in other venues, we're all intelligent people. We all have degrees. We all have great access to research and things of that nature. But I have been fortunate enough to really have the opportunity to have a set of experiences that are unmatched. I've been on the bench for over 10 years as an associate magistrate and municipal court judge. I've handled criminal and civil matters in that context. I spent 8 years as a prosecutor. I've spent 17 years as a criminal defense attorney, and I've spent 17 years as a civil litigator. And in that capacity, I've done everything from derivative takeover actions involving big nonprofits in the area to countless domestic relations matters. And I think that combination of experience makes me uniquely qualified to be Superior Court judge.
Thank you. Ms. McCamey?
Thank you. I have experience in both civil and criminal matters. The courts, from my understanding from talking to all the judges that are currently on the bench, 50% of what they do is criminal matters and 50% is civil matters. And of that 50%, half of that is family law. I have done both criminal and civil practice. I've practiced it. I've seen it. I have experience doing budgets because I am the chief assistant in the Henry County District Attorney's Office now. So I'm familiar with doing a budget for an office as well as managing a heavy caseload to make sure that the cases move through the court system efficiently. I believe that my experience and my love for this community will make me an asset to the bench here in the Alcovy circuit.
Thank you. Mr. Stansfield?
My experience is very, very diverse and very broad, and it gives me the skill set to look at any number of legal problems, apply the rules of law, and make decisions based on the facts. I've practiced full-time for 31 years. I've done things from antitrust law to wills, alcoholic beverages to zoning. I've kept people out of jail by explaining to them what they thought was illegal, and I've certainly bumped up with district attorneys and other folks on criminal matters when I was representing banks and dealing with search warrants and dealing with seizures. I'm fully familiar with many of the issues that apply in a criminal matter. And likewise, I'd never practiced divorce law for a simple reason. Most of my friends who are divorce lawyers were divorced. I didn't want to run that risk, but I've helped families deal with sibling divorces in probate court and business divorces. And what I know about divorce law is this: we want the children to be taken care of, and they're our priority. We can handle the grown-ups later.
Thank you, Mr. Stansfield. The next question will be answered by Ms. McCamey, then Mr. Stansfield, then Mr. Foster. If elected as Superior Court judge, how would you propose managing the large workload of court cases in Walton County and the Alcovy Circuit?
I propose that each case has to have a case management schedule order, and that those cases have to follow that order. And as a judge, is the judge's responsibility to make sure that the cases are moving along, that they're not being postponed, because behind every case is a real person. It is a person's life. So the more that we have cases lingering in the balance, that's a person's life that's lingering in the balance. Whether it's a divorce or a criminal case, we have to make sure that the cases stick to a schedule and move forward. Additionally, I think that we must make sure that people are heard and understand exactly what is expected of them. And we have to respect the litigant's time. When cases are scheduled for a hearing, we need to make sure that that hearing happens on time, that the court is always open for business and ready to work.
Thank you. Mr. Stansfield.
So I believe in scheduling orders as well. I think they're an important tool for judges to set expectations of the parties. But I've learned over my years that there is a time for all things, and some cases require more time. Some cases require time so parties can get witnesses, but also so parties can come to a position where they can resolve their case. Mediation is very important in resolving civil cases in particular. Similarly, the alternative courts for mental health and veterans and the like are also important for helping resolving cases and taking them onto a different track. And then finally, we need to make sure that people know that when they've come to court, they haven't been rushed through, that their stories have been heard and we've listened to them.
Thank you. Mr. Foster.
One of the first things that I would seek to work with the other judges to implement, and all of us would be mindful that we would be the newest amongst the pack of judges, but certainly I would seek to influence that at the outset of the year, we not only establish our regular court calendar and our regular terms of court, but at that time, each of the judges establish set special trial terms and have those terms set out for the year, and make sure that we're giving civil trial cases a sufficient opportunity to get before juries and move along, as well as giving notice to the number of jury opportunities that will be presented for criminal cases. You know, we use scheduling in the criminal system already, and I think utilizing that with a degree of flexibility in civil is great. But in the end, we need to set up jury trial calendars at the beginning of the year and have folks understanding that their case is coming up and it's going to get called.
Thank you. The order for the third question will be Mr. Stansfield, then Mr. Foster, then Ms. McCamey. The third question was submitted by a local resident. Give us one positive statement about each of your opponents. Mr. Stansfield.
First, Ms. McCamey, beyond the wonderful smile, she's a very capable prosecutor. The Henry County office is a big office, and so I know that she's a capable prosecutor. Mr. Foster is an incredible family man. I have some idea of what it takes to raise 7 children because I'm number 5 out of 7. And in addition, he's been deeply involved in his community and particularly his church ministry.
Thank you. Mr. Foster.
Well, first, I will say that, and I think I tried to give a shout out to this earlier, Ms. McCamey may be the single most polite and thoughtful person. I think were she to be part of the judge fold, she would take on a nurturing role. I just see that in her, and her politeness has been appreciated. I think Mr. Stansfield has a fabulous reputation. I don't think anybody that has dealt with Bob in a professional capacity can ever doubt anything about his intellect. He's a very, very sharp lawyer and a very able advocate for his clients. You know, look, we all bring positives to the bench. I don't think the circuit loses regardless.
Thank you. Ms. McCamey.
First, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate those kind words. And what I will say about both Mr. Stansfield and Mr. Foster is that they are both very good guys, just to put it simply. They have both been helpful to me. They have both been courteous and nice. And I agree with Mr. Foster that the county doesn't lose anything from either of us.
Thank you. Now you will each have a 2-minute closing statement. Mr. Stansfield.
Thank you. Again, I want to express my appreciation to the chamber and to my fellow candidates for participating in this event. I would be humbled and proud to be a Superior Court judge for the Alcovy Circuit. I think that I bring important skills to this circuit, which are important at this time. Especially Walton County has grown tremendously over the last 10 years. And along with that will come a growth in cases dealing with business and real estate and commercial matters. And Judge Benton and Judge Osborne won't be there. I'll be able to help carry that load. I've got a common sense approach to solving problems. I know I've said it before in other forums, but I think common sense solutions like alternative courts are an important way of dealing with nonviolent offenders, and they save us money. I want to be able to listen and will listen to people and be fair with them. I know no candidate can know all the law and know all the rules, but I have the ability to find the rule, to apply the rule, and to find the facts. And ultimately, the judge is the gatekeeper of fairness and the gatekeeper of procedure, and I can do those things. And if you're concerned about COVID-19 and the threat of the economy, I know that I know the law on that, because I helped businesses survive and rebuild after the debacle of 2008. And if COVID-19 recession or depression is going to be worse, I am able to handle that. I would appreciate your vote for Superior Court Judge. If you want to know more about my campaign or my background, please go to my website, www.roberthstansfieldforjudge.com, and please review the Walton Tribune article that was published recently. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Stansfield. Ms. McCamey.
Thank you. This circuit is my home. I was born and raised here. My mother was a school teacher in Social Circle Public Schools for over 30 years. My dad was born and raised here in Covington, Newton County. My family is here. This is where I chose to raise my family. This is where I want my children to raise their families. I want to help to make this community a safe environment and a community that trusts its judicial system. I am connected to the community. I am a member of the Newton County Chamber of Commerce. I am a member of both the Walton and Newton County Bar Associations. I am a member or the co-chair of the Newton County Domestic Violence Task Force. I am the co-chair of the Community Service Committee for the New Rock Legal Society. And I am a board member with the Newton County Boys and Girls Club. I care about this community, and I want to make sure that all people are treated fairly. That when they come before the courts, they know that they are heard and that a decision was made based upon the rule of law and the facts and nothing else. It is my goal to make sure that the community is a part of the court system, that they feel that they can come to their courts and make sure that their matters are resolved. I have experience in both civil and criminal law. I am a trial attorney. Being in the courtroom is home for me. I understand the rules of law and I know how to apply them. I understand how to move large caseloads. I would appreciate your vote on June 9th or before for Shavita McCamey for Superior Court Judge. If you would like to learn more about me, you may visit my website at mccameyforjudge.com. Thank you.
Mr. Foster.
You know, I would say as I stand here campaigning for this position and telling people they should vote for me, that certainly I could point to my law degree from the University of Georgia, go Dogs. Certainly I could, I do have a unique set of experiences. I'm the only person that has presented a murder case as a defense attorney, an armed robbery case as a defense attorney to a jury. And I'm the only person that's presented a murder case, multiple murder cases and armed robberies and such before a jury as a prosecutor. I've had 17 years, literally hundreds and hundreds of bench trials and hearings on domestic relations and a wide variety of civil matters. And in that respect, I'm a lot like Judge Benton. I've also sat as a judge for 10 years, much as he sat as an appointed judge hearing divorces. He was an ADA and a civil trial attorney. But we miss a real important part of some of the things that I've been blessed really to experience, and that's how to know our community and the people in our community and begin to look at things not as cases but as individuals. And in my time with foster care, working with foster parents, raising foster children, my time raising children from traumatic backgrounds, my time working with Project Jumpstart at the Ministry Village, where I walked alongside people who are now my friends and really put a face to trauma, addiction, and mental health and the hardness of life for so many folks has really impressed upon me that we don't deal with cases, we deal with lives and we deal with people. And those folks have been personalized in my experiences, and I'm better for it. And it better enables me really to make sure that we afford everyone the respect and the dignity and recognize their individuals and try to know where they come from. And I feel I know my community better. So I ask for your vote on June 9th or before.
Thank you. Our last candidates for this forum are for the Walton County Sheriff. We'll start with 3-minute introductions. We'll go first with Joe Chapman, the incumbent.
I'm Walton County Sheriff Joe Chapman. I grew up in Monroe, graduated from Monroe Area High School in 1982. I joined the United States Marine Corps, served 6 years in the Marine Corps, served 14 years in the Georgia Army National Guard, retired as a company first sergeant. My wife Tammy and I, who also graduated from Monroe, have been married for 37 years. We have 3 sons, Jake, Josh, and Jordan. I have 2 daughter-in-laws, Kate and Lindsay. Have 4 grandchildren, Gus, Weston, Kylie, and Bran. I began my law enforcement career in 1987 at the City of Monroe Police Department. I left the City of Monroe Police Department and I was an investigator for Judge George Hearn at Walton County Juvenile Court. I then transferred from the juvenile court over to the Walton County Sheriff's Office and worked as an investigator for the Sheriff's Office and was elected sheriff in 2004. Served as your sheriff for the past 15 years, and this year will be 16 years. And I would like to ask for your continued support and your vote on June the 9th.
Thank you. Mr. Sledge.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Sledge. I'm running for Walton County Sheriff. A little bit about Mike. I'm a father of 3 wonderful young adults, one 17, 2 15, twin boys. I'm a U.S. veteran. I served 5 years in the U.S. Army. I started my career there at Fort Benning, Georgia, Sand Hill. From there, I was stationed at Fort Myer, Virginia. I was assigned to Elite Unit, which is the ceremonial escort to the President of the United States. We did basically White House ceremonies. I did over 807 funerals in the Arlington National Cemetery and such things like that in Military District of Washington. From there, I decided that it was time to leave the Army and give a career in law enforcement. I had pondered that for a while. And I decided to apply, and in 2002 I was hired on with Athens Clarke County, where I served a few years with Athens Clarke County and been certified since 2002. Throughout my law enforcement stint, I had a few years at Social Circle, and I did some reserve time at City of Tacoma. I was then, in 2008, I was given an opportunity to reach out and help the soldiers overseas. I took that opportunity. I went to Iraq for 3 years, assisted the soldiers over there in the combat zone, and then 2 years in Afghanistan, helping them. And to this day, I'm still in government contracting and assisting soldiers and protecting homeland and the other borders. A little bit about me, I like to fish. I know that's kind of where I get my calm. I like grilling. It was simple as it may seem. It's a calm. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question, Sheriff Chapman will go first. What specific qualifications, skills, and experience do you possess that would make you the best candidate for sheriff?
I think the best skill that I possess is I've been your sheriff for almost 16 years now. Those are skills that are learned. You don't walk into this job already possessing those skills. It takes quite a time to learn the trade, I guess, so to speak. Sheriff is very different from being a day-to-day police officer. You have to manage budgets. The jail is an extremely difficult animal to manage, and very different aspects of the job than it is being a day-to-day police officer. And I think my experience over the years is what I bring to the table.
Thank you. Mr. Sledge.
Experience from military leadership, training soldiers in combat zones, to working big programs. I'm currently a program manager with government work, and we deal with very large budgets. And again, it's something that you have to be able to bring to the table. I understand that being sheriff is a little different than a patrol officer, definitely. However, they run hand in hand, and as you said, some of those are things you just don't walk into, you learn them. And with the support of the people, I'm definitely up for the learning part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question, the sheriff is a constitutional officer. Please explain what this means and discuss budgetary and fiscal responsibility to the county. Mr. Sledge, you'll go first.
Basically, it's a constitutional officer is a government official that goes by constitutional law versus statute. Then we go into the last part was, again,
Discuss budgetary and fiscal responsibility to the county.
Meaning basically the government official, you're the head of the agency. You have to physically be responsible and make sound decisions with your budget, and do good in purchasing, and be able to explain to the citizens and to commissioners why certain things have been procured.
You, Sheriff Chapman.
I'm going to try to answer this in the time allotted. A constitutional officer is not a department head. It's sheriff, probate judge, tax commissioner, and clerk of court are the 4 constitutional officers in every county. Georgia has 159 counties. The state constitution directs that there is a sheriff, probate judge, tax commissioner, and clerk of court in every county. That's where the sheriff gets their authority, is from the Constitution. It's not legislative authority. And as far as budgetary commitments and demands, is the Walton County Sheriff's Office is the second largest eater of your tax dollars. We're second to the Walton County Board of Education. And since I've been your sheriff, I have not spent 1 penny over my allotted budget over 15 years. And that's just not me, it's my staff that is committed to the taxpayers of Walton County, and we make a commitment to do that every year.
Thank you. The third question, if elected sheriff, how do you propose to maintain the safety of the inmates and officers in the jail? Sheriff Chapman.
We always strive to maintain the safety of the officers in the jail. And we also work hard to maintain the safety of the inmates. It's a difficult task. Our jail is an aging jail. It's we need a new jail immediately. The aging of and the deterioration of the jail, it causes safety concerns with both deputies and the inmates. It's a constant job to maintain the two of them. So my plans are, and we've been working on it for some time, is to construct a new jail that would be less requirements on manpower and safety.
Thank you. Mr. Sledge.
My plan would be, first and foremost, to start implementing some modern technology in the Walton County Jail for more transparency, from video to audio recording. Also, all the deputies would have body cameras to protect both sides of personnel. The jail definitely does need a little bit of restructuring. And from my I guess from my visits there, taking people to Walton County Jail at points in times, I agree with the current sheriff. It is time for a new jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Last question. Many departments are under the sheriff's oversight. Briefly explain the different departments and how you manage or will manage this large workforce if elected. Mr. Sledge.
First, I would like to definitely talk to all department heads and sit down and have a long drawn out conversation as far as trying to come together as a whole, creating a joint task force throughout departments to where we all can work well together, work with one another. It's very important to know what's going on in the cities inside of Walton County, as well as in the rural areas of Walton County. And this is something that's currently needs to be revamped and pushed, because there's a gap between the community and law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Chapman.
Melissa, could you ask that question one more time, please?
Sure. Many departments are under the sheriff's oversight. Briefly explain the different departments and how you manage or will manage this large workforce if elected.
Well, when you say departments, I'm assuming you're talking about departments within the sheriff's office. The sheriff is the overseer of those departments, and we're required by Constitution as to what laws and our specific jobs as sheriff. The Constitution says that the sheriff is the keeper of the jail. The sheriff is responsible for the security of the courts. The sheriff is responsible for the service of summons and court documents. Walton County is also a full service sheriff's office where we enforce traffic laws and answer 911 calls throughout the community. We have a great sheriff's office here, and our crime statistics are some of the lowest of counties our size in the state. I would like to take credit for all that, but I can't. Most of our success is due to our deputies, the quality of deputies we have, and the people that we serve in Walton County.
Thank you. Now you'll each have 2 minutes for closing remarks. Mr. Sledge.
First and foremost, I would like to thank the Walton County Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum. And I misunderstood your last question as far as the department. Again, I truly hope that the Walton County citizens will go out and look at the information available via website, via internet. Look at my 4-year plan compared to what's currently present. And if you give me the opportunity and the honor to serve as your next sheriff, I am very sure that it'll be a great decision and you won't be disappointed in that decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Chapman.
As I stated earlier, I grew up in this community. My wife grew up in this community. We've raised a family in this community and are currently raising our grandchildren in this community. This is home. What goes on in this county means a lot to me. The office of sheriff that we, when I say we, myself and others here at the sheriff's office have built, I take great pride in. As I said earlier, I think we do a great job here, but we have to give credit to the people that we serve. This is a great community that we live in. And that makes it a great deal easier for us. Our deputies take pride in serving the people of Walton County, and I ensure that. When I hire a new deputy, the first thing I tell them is don't think you're in Gwinnett County or Atlanta. We still unlock car doors in this county, and we still help people get their cows up when they get out. And we treat people like they should be treated. And I hope we don't lose that small town feel too soon. I know it's coming in the future, but I hope it's far into the future. And I want to continue to be your sheriff, and it's my pleasure to serve as your sheriff, and I ask for your continued support and vote on June the 9th. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our forum today. Thank you again to the candidates for participating. We have another forum this Thursday for candidates with primary opposition in the races of County Coroner, County Commission Districts 3 and 6, and the School Board District 7. Thank you all again.